Test. Hey everyone, welcome to the stream. We're going to be getting some pre-market analysis here. All right, so daily chart. Let me get rid of some of these old markings here. Swap sell side here. Okay, so we have a daily FVG above. We've got this. Okay. We didn't actually tap this daily gap here. So I'd like to be bullish, honestly. We are rejecting off this daily gap here. And it looks like we've tapped EQ as well. Have a look. Okay, so there's no EQ tap yet, so we could still be bearish, which is fine. Drag it to today though, so you can see it. Wait, things messed up. Yeah. Better. Okay, we're good. We're good. All right. So yeah, daily chart. I'm kind of a bit neutral here on bias. We haven't tapped EQ of this range on the daily. So ideally, I'd like to come down and rebalance EQ before looking for longs for this high here, potentially back to all-time highs. We do have a gap here. And what day was this? Thursday and Friday. Because this is an end dog, new day opening gap that's yet to be tapped. There's a little volume imbalance here on the daily. And we've just filled this new week opening gap here to the buy side. So you see if there's any inefficiencies above. Okay, so side here. We've also swept sell side here. What's this? Don't know what that is. Okay, anyway. Broke these over 10 AM. What is this? Hello, welcome to the stream. It's good to streaming again. I was busy yesterday, otherwise I would have streamed yesterday. Price action was great yesterday. I did have a look. Okay, so got big H4 inefficiency here. Have we tapped EQ of this range on the 4 hour? No, we haven't. Okay, so what I can potentially see happening here is we manipulate higher, potentially market open in 13 minutes, and then we come back down and tap EQ of this daily range, potentially, and then we can look for longs. Obviously, that probably isn't going to happen all today, but on the 4 hour time frame, it looks like that might what happen here. That might be what happened to. If I can speak properly. Okay. So we do have SMT. There's no SMT at the lows. There is SMT at the highs though, but it's kind of wonky. Okay. So we are reacting off the top of this new week opening gap here, as well as this H4 FEG. So let's dive a little deeper. So hourly chart. Okay. Again, the hourly chart is more of the same, to be honest. We did sweep this high. Yeah. Looks like we are like in a range at the minute, so we do need to wait for either the range low or the range high to be taken before we can try and take a trade. Okay, so looking closely, there is an SMT at the lows. Thank you. SMT right here. And 15. There's not too much going on the 15-minute either, really. More of the same. Okay, so we do have this buy side here. There's a high inside of a gap, so it would be nice if that was tapped. Or potentially going lower, rebalancing EQ of this range. Let me go on the H4 quickly and see this range is valid here. No, it's not. Okay, so yeah, no, this entire range here is what needs to be rebalanced. It's only ranges, by the way, it's only ranges that are that aren't completely balanced. So, for example, if the low was here, you have all of these, you know, it comes back down here and rebalances the EQ of each leg up. So you wouldn't have to draw a fib here. This is irrelevant because it's already rebalanced EQ on each leg. Whereas this one hasn't rebalanced EQ at all, starting from this low. This didn't rebalance EQ, this didn't rebalance EQ, so you have to rebalance the whole leg, basically. If you can hear me all right, by the way, just let me know. Let me know if you can't hear me or anything, because I've changed my mic settings a little bit, try and get better sound quality, but I don't know if it's lowered the volume here or anything. So, hello everyone joining the TikTok stream. Great, thanks. Thanks for letting me know. Okay. We've got market open here in 9 minutes. We've just rebalanced EQ here of this range. So we could potentially run higher now, which I wouldn't mind. And we did leave this gap unfilled. 15-minute gap here. I'll mark it out just because we messed up. Is this a news candle? This is a news candle. This is a good draw. 8:30. Not really, actually. Not really a data high because it would have had to been this candle directly. I guess I guess we can mark it out since it is a data high on the 5-minute. Nice setup here, London session, by the way. Put up the lows. And got a nice IFVG. Would have been invalid, but still a nice tape read. This is a good confirmation setup here. Just no EQ rebalance, so it wouldn't have been something that I'd have taken, but essentially there's like a 30-second confirmation entry here or something. I'll get the top of the end and walk here. Okay, so obviously at 8:30 here, we did wick up and take this high, so this could be manipulation. If it is manipulation, it means that we'll most likely expand downwards come market open, but it might not be. It's kind of difficult to determine, especially because we do have daily. We do have buy side liquidity above, but and obviously, yeah, the rebalance of this range before we head lower. I mean, there's nothing else ready for me to analyze here. It's pretty much more of the same on each time frame. Good. Good to hear that the quality is good. Thank you. I did try and just change a few settings in OBS with the microphone. There wasn't stuff on there. I ended up messing it up just before I was about to start streaming, so I was like panicking. But I've unlocked the virtual cam on TikTok now, so I can stream my OBS stream. So what you're seeing on YouTube is also now on TikTok, whereas before it was just literally my chart, and I couldn't add anything else on there. It wasn't letting me. I had to do the 3 25-minute streams on there. Where did they give me live privileges at like 50 followers? I don't know why they did that, but I mean, I'll take it, Absolutely take it. Yeah, I mean, there's not really much here for me to go off. Either we come and take this high and sweep, rebalance this range, and we get a short setup off of this or this, or we just kind of tank, basically, down for EQ of the daily range, or we range, or we just stay in the range, just consolidating the week opening gap here. We did have a big overnight session, so sometimes a big overnight session like this can indicate chop. And since we did have a big sell-off yesterday as well, as you can see right here. Big sell-off. There was actually a nice setup yesterday at market open. I'll show you. Really nice setup at market open here. Sorry, I know it's... Now I'm like going super fast on the chart. We get a load. Okay, here we are. This is market open yesterday. It's on the 30-second, so obviously we swept all of this, this buy side here. There's more highs to the left. And we got a really nice inversion, short. Technically it's invalid, but I mean the risk to reward, if you were targeting this low, for example, down here, I'm not going to go all the way to the left, but there is a low down there. You can see the sell side line. I mean, you take this just based on the risk to reward. You could even go super low risk just because it was invalid. We target all the way down here, so 1 to 8. So I mean, even if it is invalid, like with that kind of risk to reward and the good setup it is, you can't really pass it up. And it's just kind of like ropey setups. Like if they're invalid, then you got to stick to it. But a clean setup like that with a good draw on liquidity, you can take a lower risk. Okay, so I'll stay on the 1 minute here just for now while we wait for market open in 3 minutes time. So usually when we come down and we leave the sell side like this with a gap above, price will usually just come back down and sweep that low. Like that low is primed for the taking, you know. We have the midpoint of the MWOG here, a weak opening gap with the gap below, so maybe a reaction zone, but you know, I can't really anticipate that. And we did sweep this buy side here, and we've just reacted off the 8:30 opening price. You can see this wick right here, and the purple line here is the 8:30 opening price. And there's a gap above as well. So. My lovely wife has made me some banana bread. I want to try it, but I'll wait a sec. Wait a bit. The 5-minute looking like. Okay. So the fact that we have swept this high here and filled the entire new week opening gap is pretty bearish. Like I said, I would have liked for it to come and rebalance this range. It didn't. And obviously there is a high inside of a 4-hour gap here. It's usually a good draw on liquidity, but you know, context matters, and we have just filled the new week opening gap. So if we get some sort of like clean short, wouldn't be opposed to taking it. But we do have SMT that lows here as well, so got to be a bit careful. And make sure TikTok hasn't restricted me again. Oh, no, we're not. We're good. Finally. There's a flare. Got a flare on TikTok. I don't know what it does. Oh. Use a flare to attract more viewers to your live. Alright, sure. Okay. Have a flare. Don't know what the flare does, but I've just activated it, and it says it's going to attract more viewers. So, yes, I guess it's a good thing. So market open here. This is the candle for market open. We do have a clean 2-minute. So you gotta wait for the 3. Might be invalid before we even get it though. The 3-minute FEG here. It was invalid anyway, but we'll keep it marked up for reference. So if this wasn't invalid, then it would be clean. We have a 9:30 wick here, which is a good draw on liquidity. Acts as sort of like a data low kind of style. Hello everyone joining, welcome, welcome. Now let me just move this 4-hour over a little bit because it's taking up a lot of the screen. And we know it's there, so. What I'm looking for now is a potential confirmation setup because the 3-minute is invalid. I mean, every time frame is invalid, so even if I wanted to try and risk it and take it on a lower time frame, it wouldn't really matter because they're all invalid anyway. The 30-second wasn't invalid, but I'm not going to sit there and take a long on the 30-second when we have a 3-minute FVG in the way. I need to try and find some like YouTube and TikTok friendly music I've going in the background. Silence. Alright, so did we leave equal highs here? No, we did get a little sweep. Tiny though. Practically equal highs. Let's label them as relative equal highs. Welcome to the stream on TikTok. Welcome. Hello everyone joining on TikTok. Welcome. Well, this flurry is pretty good. There's a lot of people joining. Hello. If anyone's curious, I've got no real bias here. Potentially looking at longs, come and rebalance this range here, and then maybe shorts if we do. Down to the daily range EQ. But like I said, we could just range inside this new week opening gap here for a little while. We've got a very minor liquidity sweep here, and left relative equal highs, so these are likely to be ran. We had a 3-minute inversion, but I can't take it because it's invalid. So what I'm doing is I'm on the 30-second now, and I'm waiting to see if we get a 30-second IVG confirmation setup. Long, potentially to this EQ here. We also have a high inside of a 4-hour gap as well, so pretty good draw on liquidity as well as a data high. See, looks like we're just going to range a little bit here. Oh, I thought maybe, but no. But as well on the 15-second. No, not even on the 15. A shame. Unfortunate. If we got a nice 30-second IVG there, that would have been a clean long entry, a clean confirmation entry off the 3-minute close. But no, we didn't get it. So this is an hour long. We would have been break even already. I told you these relative equal highs would get ran. When we have such a minor liquidity sweep like this, like you can see, it's like less than, what is it, like 0.25 ticks? Well, let me draw. Oh, let me do that. Let me measure it. Oh, there we are. How much are we talking here? half a tick. Yeah, see, when we take a high like this with like half a tick, it's just it's just gonna get ran. Okay, so we've tapped the 8:30 opening price again to the tick here. You have a gap below. See if we react off of this and maybe run higher. We have tapped this here and we are looks like we might be heading higher. Wait and see. Welcome to the stream on TikTok. Welcome everyone joining. If anyone has any questions or anything, just feel free to drop them in the chat. I've got the chat here on my second monitor, so same with the YouTube chat as well. If anyone's got any questions, just let me know. We do have a 30-second inversion here. I don't love it, to be honest, if we do get the closure. Yeah, I don't love it, but yeah, it could be something that we take low risk here. There is SMT at the highs as well. Eventually, if we get the closure. Looks like we are reacting off it though. Like I say, I don't really love this setup, so it'd be a low risk. It'd be like a 2 or 3 micro. There's a lot of chop coming off this gap. I'll remove this for now just because it looks like we're reacting off it. No clean closure. Okay. All right. I mean, I'll take this. I'll take a low risk. Maybe do 2. Wait, that's 2. Oh, I messed up the entry. Oh well. We'll tape read it. Okay, so you'd be break even. You'd be break even right here. Let's see if it'd be a break even trade or not. You could target lower. You didn't have to just take this daily wick. I mean, if you want to target all the way down to the daily EQ, you could. It looks like you might get stopped out break even here. So you got to give it 1 candle. So we'll wait and see what this one does. Okay, so you'd be at break even right now. I had one full candle after the entry. So, by the way, notice how I didn't enter after I messed up the entry because we'd already taken the break-even point. That's my error. I was too slow. I tried to enter on NQ instead of MNQ by accident, and it is what it is. But I mean, I would definitely be in this trade if I didn't mess up that entry. So. Is it going to be a break even? I mean, if this goes all the way to the drawn liquidity, so I mean, your first take profit would be here, this 930 wick. So say you went in with like 2 micros or something, you could take the first take profit here at this 930 wick. If you were feeling ambitious, you could do second take profit here at London lows, and then your third, you'd hold a runner now until EQ with this range. Bit optimistic, but possible. That's where you hold a runner, and then you can like trail your stop. So once we take out the first take profit, you can then trail your stop above the next intermediate term high. That way, if your resting position got stopped out, you get stopped out in profit. And if we kept running down, then you've not cut yourself short by only taking this as a take profit. You've you're still holding some in the lows and etc. etc. We are moving pretty slowly here. Like I said, we could range inside this new week opening gap. So see. Would that have been break even? No, not yet. You got a bad fill maybe, but I mean, you should usually put your stop, or you move your stop to break even, the actual break even point of the entry. So if you got a fill down here, you'd have to put your break even at the actual entry. So I mean, you'd still be in this. All right, so there's your TP1. How many points is this? Why is this not working? Is it because there's an indicator there? Okay, there we are. So that's 70 points. $2 a point. $140 per micro. So if you'd have taken 1 micro there, you'd be up 140. There is an inversion here. I do actually quite like this. You know, it goes against our current position. But there is no closure yet. That's okay, so it would have been a break even after TP1, which is good. There's no closure here, so this isn't a valid entry. There's no valid entry long here. Okay, so I mean, you'd be up one take profit, and then you would have got the run. Your runners would have got stopped out. So it's still a good trade. We'll take a TP1. Let me remove this. Yeah, this isn't valid, by the way. There's no closure. It needs to be a solid closure. No closure there. I mean, we're close to the tick, but doesn't count. So not the best PA, to be fair. We kind of just whipsawing inside of this new week opening gap. It doesn't really look like price has got any direction as to where it wants to head to. Like I say, we did take a short here. It hit TP1 and then got stopped at break even for a 2.5R, which is pretty good, by the way. And then obviously we saw this long go against our setup, but there's no valid closure here. We didn't close above the gap. We closed just like to the tick inside of it. So no valid entry there. Hello in the TikTok chat. Welcome. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to drop a message. I'm reading the chat, so. M2 entry here is valid. Is there an M3 in the way? There's no M3 in the way. M2 entry here is valid. Again, it's a bit high though. The risk to reward isn't that great. I'll mark it up just for, you know, deep reading purposes. Still a 1 to 2. It's just quite a big stop, especially because we've been ranging here in the morning. I don't really trust these sort of setups. I like to see a range low be taken rather than just, you know, intermediate term low here. Oh, wrong time frame. Could potentially get a confirmation setup maybe off this M2. I wouldn't mind that. We come back down here, rebalance EQ, and then maybe get a 30-second long. It would give us a much better stop loss. So, yeah, say for example, you know, we came down. I mean, it doesn't look like it's going to at the minute, but an example of a confirmation entry is, you know, we come down, tap EQ, and then we get, you know, a nice little 30-second inversion here, which gives us a much better risk to reward. And we could enter here. No, you go stop at the low and then target the high, and then in comparison to the M2, there's a 1 to 6, 1 to 6.6 rather than a you know, a 1 to 2 or whatever it was. I guess it's irrelevant now, but so we've just swept this data high. If we get this 30-second inversion, anything in the way, the 1 minute case, we'd have to wait for the 1 minute. I'm a little bit cautious of the high time frame here. You could take this, but you'd have to be a little bit cautious. So we do get the closure here. You could take this lower risk. Wait and see. To say like we do have a potential 4 minute forming below here. Let's see, I should get my order ready. Alright, so there's a closure. I'm in that one. Oops. Okay, I'm not in that one. Dude, what's wrong with me messing up my orders? Right, I'm not in this again. Yeah, I'm not in this again. Messed up my order. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it. I'll leave this here though. Like I say, I have to be a little bit cautious. Yeah. 3 minute. Yeah, there's a 3 minute below. I've moved my chart around so it keeps throwing me off when I'm trying to make an order. These are all low risk plays, by the way. This isn't, this is not a high risk play here. Your stop, by the way, is your hard stop would be at the high, and then you close if we closed above this IFEG here, which looks like we're going to. So yeah, if we do, I'm kind of glad that I didn't enter that, but it doesn't really matter if I did. So it would have been a low risk play anyway. Kind of weird price action, I will say. There's a lot of ping ponging. Seek and destroy kind of profile here. And the thing is, there's a multiple setups forming, long and short. Like this is a valid confirmation long here, but because I just don't know where price wants to go, I just can't justify taking it. This would have been a loss. I'm going to write it down as a loss in my journal because I would have taken it if my entry didn't get, if I didn't mess up my entry. So, yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good setup. We did sweep equal highs here. Like I said, I would have liked to see this, but I mean, when we get an inversion of a, high probability liquidity sweep like this, you could take it lower risk, and it usually works out pretty well. Even if it's only a 50% win rate, if you're taking anything more than a 1-to-1, it's still worth doing, and it is definitely more than a 50% win rate. So, like, say for example, you did this, you would have closed the trade here, so you would have only taken 29 points. But even if you just closed it this wick, it's still a 1-to-4. So you'd have to lose 4 of these trades in a row to, lose more than winning 1. So that's the way that you've got to think about it, It's a pretty clean inversion short, to be honest. I just don't really like. You know, we've had long and short setups, like 3 or 4 in the space of 10-15 minutes, and I haven't taken a single one, 2 by accident, but yeah, we would have taken 140 points. So yeah, 140 points total with 2 micros. With this TP1 trade here, and then you would have lost 29 points there. So say you went up with 2 micros, so you would have lost 60 points to make it 140. So you would have lost about 8. You would be at about 80 points in profit. So even in bad price action like this, you can still profit, I guess. Let's remove these markings here. A very ropey confirmation long here, by the way. This is not very good. That's why I passed on this one, because we have just swept buy side liquidity here. Data high as well is a pretty good draw on liquidity. So there's not too much above us apart from this, and then you have the range EQ. Obviously, there's probably something you could hold a runner for. Maybe this high if you were feeling optimistic, but there's relative equal highs here, I guess. Like I say, price is quite slow and not too good. We're coming up to a bit of a random one. Do you run a signal group then? No, actually, I don't. I don't run a signal group. I don't have a Discord. I just do this for free on here. Yeah, I'm just trying to build up a little bit of a following. Teach people what I've learned over the years, and I mean that's it really. I don't really have any intention of doing a signal group. I might make a Discord. I think a Discord's probably a good idea. Just make it for free. I don't want to charge anyone for entry. Just so we can have like a an inner circle, a community, I guess. So maybe I'll do that in the future. Yeah, I appreciate your message. I do. I mean, if you drop me a follow on here, I'll probably make a video on TikTok. Maybe once I drop the Discord, just pin it to my profile or something. So. Yeah, I do appreciate your message. Thank you. I can't imagine charging for signals, to be honest. I know it's a normal thing for traders to do, but it just feels a bit scammy, Like when I first started trading, I probably like maybe 2 or 3 years ago, started trading ICT. I've got experience in the markets for about 7 years, but the first 4 years were basically me just playing around with concepts, retail, trying options, any stocks, that sort of thing, and it didn't really work out. I took a little break and then decided that I was gonna, actually try. Probably about 3 years ago now, which is when I started studying ICT. The prior experience in reading price definitely helped. I can tell when price is going to be choppy, or when the candle closure isn't that good, etc. But yeah, I mean, I did join a couple of signal groups back in the early days when I was when I was inexperienced and first started learning ICT and whatnot. And they weren't very good. I remember taking quite a lot of losses, and obviously I was paying for it too, so it kind of pissed me off a little bit, I guess. I don't know if anyone in there knows TGR. You probably do, but I joined his signal service ages ago, like I'm talking before he even started, getting big on YouTube and TikTok and stuff. Like $100 a month or something, and bro lost like 5 trades in a row. Ridiculous. Yeah, I'll just do it for free on here. I don't really plan on no signal group or anything. Maybe signals in Discord, but they will be free. Just kind of alert people when I enter if they're not watching the stream or something. I mainly do this for education though. Obviously, if someone wants to copy my trade, that's not my problem. But yeah, I'd rather just people learn how to trade it properly rather than just relying on me for trade entries and stuff and such. So yeah, by the way, good call on not taking this confirmation long here. You know, we've just missed this buy side liquidity, and now you would have got stopped at break even. So like I say, I can kind of just tell. I could tell that this setup wasn't that great, this short here, because we had just, you know, we've swept the day high, but you know, we had this M2 inversion long, and the draw was higher. Still yet to hit, by the way. But I would have taken this low risk anyway. I would have taken like 2 micros on that. So my risk reward typically ranges from 2 micros to maybe like 5 micros or 10. 10 if it's like super clean and obvious. 5 if it's, you know, still a good setup. And then I'll probably like knock it down to 2 or 3, depending on the risk reward. If it's a bit of a ropey trade, like this short here, for example, is a bit ropey. As well as this short here, it wasn't that great, so I would have gone 2 or 3 on this as well. You know, the type of short or long that I'm talking about is yesterday AM session. If I was there trading that, I probably would have gone 5 micros on the short there. Again, this isn't very clean. We didn't even tap into this gap here. No EQ either. Potentially, if we tap this gap, there is a 2 and a 3. Okay, so the biggest one is a 3 minute. So, oops. Let me mark up the 3. Obviously, if we tap the 3, then it's, you know, a valid rebalance. There's no 5 or anything like that. A lot of wicks on the 15 too. Yeah, there's no EQ here. So if I wanted to take this long here, which I would if it was valid, then I'd want to see this M3 gap here tapped, as well as the EQ, and then we could potentially get a long here. Wait, there's a Discord. No, not yet. There's no Discord yet. I might make one. I haven't got around to it yet, though. I know there's a lot of work that goes into making a Discord server. But I think I will get around to making it, to be fair. It's a good idea. Just like, you know, the close members of the community, like you, for example, MCAM, just join and have a chat, I guess. Maybe share some trade ideas. I might post some educational content in there or whatever. Maybe like trade reviews, something like that. Might be helpful. And I'll probably have like a notification area for when I upload on YouTube or TikTok. I know I've not posted any content on YouTube or TikTok for a while. I've been very busy. It's got stuff every day at school. Yesterday was his nativity play, which is why I couldn't trade. It was like bang on when I'd normally trade. Obviously it's 2:30 in the UK, and he finishes school at 3:15, so it makes sense for him to do it at that time. And then today, a little bit earlier, we went for Christmas dinner at his school. And then tomorrow, my wife has an appointment for the baby, and just got a lot going on. But I'll get some content out there. I think in the new year, I'm going to really start hammering down, getting some long form videos out there, and keep up with the consistent short videos like I was last month. Just I think it's all going to be a little bit slow over Christmas. Yeah, of course, man. But I do still plan on getting stuff out, so you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about that. Yeah, like I say, I don't like this long. I'm not taking this long. It can hit all at once if it wants to. I'm just not going to take it because we missed EQ and we didn't even tap into the 3 minute. So I'm not taking this. The risk to reward isn't really that great either. Say for example, we got closure right there. And maybe a 1 to 1.5. Yeah, see, this risk reward isn't great. The runner risk reward obviously is going to be great, but like I said, we're only looking for EQ with this range at this point, so. Welcome to the TikTok stream. Welcome, welcome. Hello. Yeah, alright. You're leaving him? Okay. Okay, if he's chilling, yeah, no worries. I'm just going to nip to the loo. Be back in a second. You guys can watch the charts for me. Apologies, I'm back. Looks like the instinct was right here on this long. We didn't take this because we didn't rebalance EQ or tap into this gap here. I feel like we've been pretty on point today. Yeah, the one trade that we would have taken here would have hit, TP1. We'd have taken a small loss here. Maybe about a third of the profits you'd have made from this winner here. So that's the joys of risk to reward, If you have good risk to reward, your win rate can be super low. I mean, obviously my win rate isn't super low; it's pretty good, but my risk to reward and risk management is what keeps me in the game. No EQ, no EQ yet, and we just missed this buy side. So, like I say, relative equal highs. I would like to see another long setup here. ES just missed it too, so there's no SMT there on the 4 hour. Okay, so there's EQ. And there's the 3-minute gap too. 30-second isn't that clean. There's quite a big displacement here. Let me get rid of that. There's the M1 looking at, but the M1's huge. Huge. The M1's a bit too big. I can't really justify that, especially for the risk to reward. Barely at 1-to-1, right? Yeah, 1-to-2. So yeah, I can't really justify that. If we did get the closure here, because we are still quite choppy. So the fact that we have left buy side here, and we only swept this minor sell side here, this 930 wick, and we haven't made any major retracements or any major expansions here, it does indicate that we might chop here for a little while. I did say this earlier in the session, probably about market open time. The price action might not be that great because we had expansion overnight, a large London and Asian session here, as you can see. Usually when we have such a big new week opening gap like this, we do chop inside of it. Welcome in the TikTok chat. I appreciate the follow, my man. Add some emojis on her. Okay, kick me out of my my funded futures account then. A good one. Oh yeah, it's better. We'll keep the poo emoji. So any newcomers can see how price is. Hello viewers in the YouTube. I can see we have a couple in here. Good to have you guys in here. Price is quite choppy today. Yeah, I mean, there's not really much else. We've missed sell side and buy side multiple times. Multiple invalid setups. And very little sensitivity to any levels here in the week opening gap. So we're just waiting. I don't like this. This is it would be a valid long if we did get it, but obviously the 6 candle rule, we needed to close above in 6 candles. Doesn't look like it's going to do that, and also the risk to reward to our current target isn't great. Barely a 1-to-1. So but we did point out a valid short setup here that would have hit TP1 if I did take it, but I messed up my order. I treated it as if I did take it, so this would have hit TP1 for a 2.5R before getting stopped to break even here, right here on this candle. So, and obviously we had a 2-minute long as well. I didn't really like the risk reward on this one, but it was valid. I was looking for a confirmation long here. We didn't get confirmation long. Instead, we got a short setup of sweeping these data highs here. We did end up taking this. Again, I messed up my order. I don't know how. I'm clumsy with it today. But again, I would have taken this. So I treated it as if a loss. It would have only lost like a third of what we would have made on the TP1 trade here. That's where I always say the risk management comes into it and risk to reward. I mean, you can't really go wrong if you're taking 1 to 4, 1 to 5, 1 to 6 trades every single time. You could have a win rate of like 20% and still be profitable with those kind of numbers. My win rate is typically around 70 to 80%. Much better not in December, by the way. December has been horrible so far. We did catch a nice trade last week. Then we got 2 nice trades last week, actually. Yesterday would have been good, but I missed yesterday. Had some family stuff on. There's a good, nice short setup there that we would have caught. Would have hit a nice risk reward on that one. And then today, obviously, after the large overnight range and the big new week opening gap here, we've had some pretty bad PA. So, as you can tell by this poo emoji, the poo emoji says it all. Yeah, it's kind of annoying that we missed EQ here. And these highs as well. Like, it's like this, where we kept missing these highs. Why? Why do this to me? Miss like super obvious liquidity for no reason. If this wasn't December, we would not be doing that, by the way. I'm just saying. The worst months are definitely have pretty bad historic days on July and August as well. Especially August. August is kind of on the same level as December. But every other month I've had decent results. So hopefully January is better. I mean, it should be. I'm looking forward to January PA. But we're still up in December. We're still up. Like I say, risk reward comes into it massively. I like to hold a runner to the draw on liquidity. When there's no obvious draw on liquidity like today, I always size down. If we have a super obvious draw on liquidity, we had one last week. Basically held for the entire session, and my runner hit like a 1 to 15R or something like that. It was crazy. It might have been the week before, but yeah, that was crazy. And we got like a scalp trade last week. It was a nice Judas swing on market open. Price action was bad. It was the day before FOMC, I remember. Price action was bad pre and post setup, but yeah, we had like a small window at 9:30 open where we got a clean IFVG long for a data high or something. It was like 9:30 high. Not too sure. You got to learn when to size down. You've got to learn when to adjust your risk reward. If there's no clear draw on liquidity, what are you holding your runner for? You might as well just take all profits at a high or a low. Obviously we were looking for a short. We have a good draw on liquidity here. EQ this entire daily range is pretty good draw. We have a low inside of a daily gap as well. So to the left here, we have S&T at the highs and lows as well. So thanks for the follow, Mohan in TikTok. Appreciate that. Appreciate that follow there. Just bear with me while my wife and son, might be able to hear them in the background. I think what I'll do here, I'll give it until 11. Sometimes we get some good setups at 11 o'clock. There's usually like a dead zone from 10:30 until 11. So what I'll do, I probably won't take anything from 10:30 onwards New York time, unless it's like super clear and obvious, obviously. But I'm not gonna put any low risk on or anything. And then at 11, if we get anything, we can take that. We've got 10 minutes here until then, so we might get something. I doubt it. Price is super slow, and you look at this. We accelerated through this M3 gap just to like wick the low and close inside of it. So can't even look for a confirmation short here or anything off this. When you get more experience, you can kind of tell. You can kind of tell when price action is not going to be great. And today is one of those days. I'll definitely be looking for some music recommendations or something that I've played in the YouTube. I've got to be careful because YouTube doesn't like music. TikTok's fine with it, but YouTube don't like it, so I've got to be careful. See if I can find like some decent non-copyright instrumental or something. Might have to make do with like classical music or something. I don't really know. I'll have a search after this stream, see if I can find something. I don't know why I've still got this marked up here. Now irrelevant. Now just look at this 5-minute price action here and tell me if this is clean compared to, like, compared to London session. Look how clean and smooth this is, and then you just look at New York and it's just ass. Same with like AM session yesterday, super clean. You got a nice sell off there, and it gets a bit ropey here, but what can you expect after a big sell off? The same kind of reason why I was expecting after this sell off, after a big sell off, you're kind of gonna just consolidate, manipulation, accumulation, manipulation, expansion. That's how it works. All day, every day. You can see it on every time frame too. I'll just use this as an example here. Accumulation, manipulation, expansion. When you have multiple legs that sweep sell side and buy side on different sides, you're not really in any of those phases. It's kind of just an accumulation phase that looks like dodgy. It looks like a seek and destroy profile. So still kind of an accumulation phase here, just on a higher time frame. Look, if I go on 5-minute, you can see here, the chop on the M15. Nothing clean here though, which is annoying. Welcome in the TikTok chat. Welcome. Okay, so we have just swept this low. I'm thinking we do continue here. Yes, swept this low as well, so no SMT. There was no entry for this short. There was no entry here. This isn't a valid short on the 30-second because we didn't sweep the high. And there's no SMT. If there was SMT, it would be fine. Because it mean the ES would have swept the high. We left buy side liquidity like right here. We didn't even tap it. Left relative equal highs basically. So this isn't a valid short. Even if it was, you would have got stopped to break even anyway. But I'm just saying, bad price action. And sometimes you get days like this, especially after a good day. Yesterday was a good day for PA. Like I say, you could have expected this with the overnight range and the big new week opening gap, and also December. December PA is usually like this. Well, in the coming months, in December, February, we should get some good, more cleaner days per week, basically. So each day and each week, yeah, it's going to be a little bit cleaner, I think. If you think about it, December is kind of like the last month in the yearly candle. So if you think of it from a PO3 point of view, PO3 basically accumulation, manipulation, distribution among the candles. So obviously 4-hour candle, right? I'll get rid of this crap emoji. You have the candle open here, and then you have some sort of price action that comes up, forms the wick of the 4-hour candle, and then you have obviously the body of the price action, and then obviously you have this the price action below it, which forms the lower wick, right? And this is only a 4-hour time frame, but if you think about it from the yearly time frame, January and December are going to be, the first bits of manipulation and at the start and the end of the candle. So the wick, say for example this was a yearly candle, this would be potentially January, this would be December. Obviously every yearly candle is probably bullish because indices are always bullish. That's the hypothesis. I mean, yeah, I'm pretty much right apart from this, but you can see what I mean here. You have price action below here, and then price action above. This is going to be a couple of months, it's going to be a couple of months, and then obviously December is the last month, so we're performing this wick right now, if you know what I mean. And obviously if the yearly candle wants to close bullish, it's going to probably consolidate. If the yearly candle wants to give a decent sized wick, and we're going to just have some slow manipulation downwards. The yearly candle doesn't really do much though. The most you want to be looking at really is sometimes the monthly. We had a nice monthly FVG right here, stacked with a weekly. So I actually loaded up in my savings account right here. I loaded up a little bit in my savings account, this weekly FVG. That's why it's still marked up. Usually you can, don't take it as advice, but you can load up when we had a major PDA on the higher time frame, like a monthly or a weekly. Usually not a bad time to buy. If we came down here, it would have been a field day. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, so the weekly holds a lot of weight. If you just look at this weekly candle that we reacted off, huge reaction here. We've got a lot of nice buy setups here along these last 2 weekly candles, not this one and this one obviously, but that's where like the past 2 weeks here have been pretty bad because we had this big move up and now we're like kind of slowly retracing on the weekly, which is this big range. You want to see your Q here. But on indices, price is always bullish. It's always bullish, especially on the higher time frame. Okay, so we have just tapped into this 4-hour gap. I didn't see this before, so I'm kind of glad that I went on the 4-hour. 4-hour gap here. I'm missing setups here. Bloody hell. 2-minute long, 3-minute. See, this is the thing now, because you've got so many PD arrays on the higher time frames. You got to wait for the highest one to close. Unless you took like 30 seconds. But even then, like you were inside a gap. Okay, so we have a 5-minute here. We have a 15-minute too. We will have a 15-minute, no doubt. Okay, let me get rid of this 3-minute. So I know we're moving right now, but there's no point in me going on a lower time frame because I need to wait for these to close, and then we can potentially look for a confirmation long, maybe on the 30-second or the 1-minute. Okay, so we have 2 M5 FEGs here. We have 2.5 minutes left on the candle closure. So no valid entry yet, but this is where your confirmation setup comes into play, because Where this isn't a valid setup, so if this was obviously valid, you know, this was all balanced, like this sort of thing. I know it looks dead wonky, but say we had that, you'd have a nice low resistance liquidity run, all balanced price above, and then you'd have a nice singular clean 30-second, 1 minute, whatever, FEG here, IFEG coming off this 4 hour, sweeping this low. That would be your precision entry. But obviously, because we have the higher time frame gaps above, I used to miss a lot of trades because obviously I'd be waiting for these and then I'd take it and the risk to reward would be terrible. So what I kind of did is I manufactured the confirmation setup, and that worked a treat, and it's great. It has a really good win rate, still has great risk to reward. Obviously, you have to wait for the higher time frame FEGs. The confirmation setup potentially has a higher win rate than the precision entries. So, yeah, I mean, it's a great model. So, it really is. So what we have to do here, we have to wait for the 5 minute to close. If the 5 minute closes above both of these, then what we can do is we can look for a 30-second, so sort of a pullback to EQ, 30-second IFEG long, right here. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of the basis of it. Obviously, there's a bit more to it, but you know, sometimes you don't get them, but it doesn't matter because, you know, if you weren't going to get the precision entry anyway, you've not missed anything, you know. There's no precision entry that's valid here. Yeah, even like I say, even the 30-second, you know, you can't enter this because you're now inside of a gap. Has to be no inefficiency in the way, and you do get these, especially in clean price action. Obviously, you know, December, like I've said before. But clean PA, you'll definitely get some of these. You know, maybe 2 or 3 a week. You might have to wait until 11. But, I mean, there's a lot that happen in market open. So for example, this. I know it's not super clean because PA was choppy, but this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. Just a singular clean IFEG right here. I mean, if you'd talked to 40p here, you know, it would have been valid, but this one too, clean. There is a high time frame gap in the way though, but you already tapped it before we got the inversion, so you know, you would have been break even here. Even if you did come and tap this and reject, you would have just got stopped at break even, so no big deal. Hi in the YouTube chat, welcome. Welcome. Appreciate you being in here, as well as the viewers in TikTok. Appreciate you too. I hope you guys are learning something. We've managed to stay out of choppy PA here. Obviously, you know, nice move here, but there's no short entry, and no valid short entry anyway. This is a bad short entry here, and it would have been a break-even trade. So. But yeah, I mean, not taking long setups like this, it keeps me out of losses. You know, if I'd have entered the 30-second here, yeah, I would have gone break even here, but we could have very well just hit this 5 minute and just tanked. You know, we have a lower draw on liquidity, so why am I going to try and, like right here, this EQ, this range here, this is my draw on liquidity, plus a low inside this daily gap, London low as well. Valid 3 minute short. It's not great because we haven't swept any buy side. But it's a valid 3 minute short here. Reacting off this 5 minute. Like I say, we do have a lower draw on liquidity, but when you're reacting off a 4 hour gap like this, it holds quite a lot of weight, so you've kind of got to be careful. And that's why anything higher than 2 minute, I'll look for a confirmation entry. Technically kind of valid here, but like I say, you've already invested 5 minutes, so you're rejecting off this one, but yeah, it's still like a kind of B setup. It's not great. There's no liquidity sweep here. Sorry, no liquidity sweep on here on the 30-second. It's just kind of a rebalance of the 5-minute and EQ. Yeah, I mean, if you see this down, you know, we've kind of sold off a little bit here. You can kind of see why I wouldn't have taken this 5-minute long, or any time frame long here at all, really. And because you always have to wait for the highest time frame closure, and this is a prime example. If we closed above this 5-minute and then got a 30-second entry right here, for example, you know, would have been perfect, would have been great, but we didn't, so no entry. Same with this short, it's just not very good. You know, we might hit, but if it does, who cares, you know? The edge isn't there. I mean, the edge is always there, if you know what I'm saying, but this trade, no. No edging. No edging in this trade. Like I say, a 3-minute short here, not very good. But if we got a confirmation, it would make it a lot higher probability. I don't think we will, given the rate that this is moving. If we do get it, potentially take it. So what I'll do here is I'll move this on and mark out the 3-minute inversion. You are reacting off 4 hours. Well, like I say, so you do have to be careful. Downsize, absolutely downsize. No entries yet, so just be patient. So for a confirmation short or long to be valid, you have to wait for a balance of EQ. This is mandatory. It's you have to, you know, there's no other way. You only enter if we rebalance EQ here, and a gap in premium is preferable. So we have obviously this large imbalance here on the 1 minute. On the 2, there is a 2 as well, which is not closed yet. It looks like the 2 will close soon though. You have to, again, be careful because there's a big BPR here. This is what I'm talking about, how price isn't very clean, you know. Bad PA. But yeah, you need to tap basically a gap here in premium for it to be a valid confirmation. Just the entry criteria. I do have my entry criteria on the TikTok. On my TikTok, I think I'm pretty sure it's pinned on my page. I'm not too sure, but I've got a full. I think the video is like my 2 entry models or something, and it's on the TikTok page if you want the proper entry criteria. I might make it into like a PDF or something and put it in like a YouTube description for free. I don't really know. Or put it on Discord when I make it. More of an incentive to go over there. Right, I need to take a slash. I'll be back in a sec. You can watch this on the 30-second if you wish. Lucas, I'm busy, mate. Oh, that's very good. I love that. Okay. Again, nothing here, just slow, choppy PA. Our microphone is doing a great job of cutting out audio at the minute. Got both of our kids going in the background. Got this lovely banana bread here. My wife has made. Wait, see it in the camera. It was kind of purple because they're light, but waiting here. So we got 17 minutes until 11. We'll give the 11 o'clock macro a go. What's happening here? No, my charts are messed up. Why is that doing that? I'm going to refresh my chart. Doing something weird. Are we good? Okay, we're good. I don't really know what's going on there. Okay, so we do have 1 minute here for a 3-minute IFEG. We'll see what happens here after we, however we power through this or we react off of it. If we do power through it, I'm open to taking it along here, to be honest. If we get a closure that isn't invalid. Okay, looks like it's going to be invalid here. Not invalid yet. It's a nice risk to reward. The 1 to 3. Okay. Okay, so this is going to be a low risker. Now I'm going to take this here. Like I say, just 2 micros. There's a nice risk to reward here, so. The break even is pretty close. At the break even, you can go break even right there. Now you have a 1 minute IFEG. Like I say, this is a super low risk trade just because of how choppy we are. But we are reacting off of this H4 gap, and we've inversed this here. So, okay, so you're now currently break even. You got to give it 1 candle. You got to be careful because there's a 5-minute gap here, so you do have to go break even. There's you can't just hold. We could very well react off this high inside the 5-minute here, so. Okay. Okay, so in about 30 seconds or so, you need to go break even. And if we came and stopped a break even, then, you know, it is what it is. Also, you know, when this candle closes, you need to go break even regardless of the close. So if we close below the entry, you just need to close the trade. That's just the way it is. Okay, so you need to go break even right now. Most likely going to get stopped at break even, but it just secures against losses. So yeah, all right. So I'm at break even. I've just got stopped at break even here. We'll keep it up just for reference, but yeah, I mean, 2-minute closure, no 3-minute closure. Yeah, this is a good confirmation long, but unfortunately we got stopped at break even here. You know, one full candle usually stops. It does stop. You know, getting the break even wick, coming back down for a retest, and then going. Obviously, in some cases like this, it doesn't really matter too much. You know, you are reacting off a 5-minute gap as well as a high, so you can't really be too. You know, you can't be mad about it. But we'll keep it up here for reference. And so this is just gonna chop here. You know, if there was sensitivity to this IFEG, we would have already we'd have already reacted off of this. So. Yeah. So break even saved us there. So, like I say, break even saves you money. It doesn't. It really does. I mean, it's, you know, it is what it is. You know, break even saves you more than it does. More than it doesn't. It's just plain and simple. You know. It's just a good confirmation long. We had a 5-minute IFEG, but obviously we split the high inside the 5-minute, and that's why this was a good break even point. You know. Price is going to come and sweep something. It's going to sweep a high inside of inside of an FVG, and that's exactly what we had here. So you sweep this and go break even, and this was pretty much an instant break even. You know, which is fine. Obviously, if I'm holding a dead trade for too long. But yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be it. To be honest, I don't really think we're going to find much more. I don't really think there's much point in waiting until 11 here. We're just going to keep getting stopped at break even, etc. So. Yeah, so for me, that's 2 break-even trades today. Yeah. It is what it is, really. Yeah, I'm just going to consolidate here, aren't we? You know, maybe you could try this for like a re-entry. It's a bit risky though, so low risk this one. Okay, I'm going to enter this one low risk again. Again, same risk as the other one, just super low. It's a decent re-entry. Just because of the risk to reward, really. That's the only thing. And the other one was a break even, so. And this is a protected high. So, actually, you probably better off going break even right here. But yeah, no, this is a protected high. So if this does get taken, then we're most likely going to run higher. You know, not so protected after all kind of thing. You have a 1 minute and a 30-second. Yeah, this is like a confirmation setup of a confirmation setup. They got stopped at break even. So, you know, when you get this sort of thing, you can re-enter. So, all right. So you're going to move your stop to break even here. This might be another break even trade, but we'll see. So this is the potential protected high. An M15. We do have an M15. Okay, so that's why we rejected off the first one. The M5 was good enough. Like, you know, we still knew there was an imbalance there, but now we know it's an M15. Okay, so we've got a nice confirmation of the confirmation here after getting stopped at break even on this one. You know, actually, believe it or not, better risk to reward here. So your TP1 is going to be here, and then, you know, you could either hold your full run into this buy side, or you could hold it to the EQ of this range. Obviously, if we take this buy side and then start forming a reversal, you want to close the trade. But yeah, that's it really. I'm just going to set my first take profit here at this high. Okay, there we are. Okay, so first take profit is set at this high. Yeah, like I say, we have a confirmation of a confirmation here. We got stopped at break even on this one, and then we've just re-entered here. So I'm saying these are just as good. I mean, if price is going to behave like this, then, you know, we kind of need to adapt, and this is the adaptation, I guess. We did rebalance EQ, we tapped into a gap below, so it's a valid confirmation of the confirmation, I guess. So, like I say, you might get stopped at break even on a confirmation setup, but sometimes you'll get this, another re-entry. So this one has better risk reward, so worked out in our favor. Can't complain. At all, really. Okay, so we do have to be a little bit wary. Right here, we do have an unfilled portion of a gap. That's what makes this high here a good target. GG. It is only an M1, so it shouldn't hold too much weight. Like I said, we are reacting off a 4 hour, so it's a good, you know, good confluence to this trade. 5 minute invalid. The original confirmation entry was valid. It was good. It was clean. Right here, but obviously break even at the high. It was a good break even point. It was a protected high, so makes sense to go break even there. Sorry, right here. For the second entry. After you got broke even on the first one. And yeah, nice 30-second entry here. You know, you're safe at break even. You know, this is a free trade right now. I mean, any trade where that hits the break-even point is always a free trade. You know, as soon as it hits that break-even point, it's a free trade. You've just kind of got to be ballsy enough to take them, I guess. So if this comes and stops at break-even, like you can't really be mad. I mean, is there any inversion here? There's no inversion. There is an M15. Like I say, so you do have to be a little bit careful. You know, we could easily reject off this M15. So that's why break even is always important. We did inverse this 5, and we're not really rejecting off of anything. So I don't see why we should come all the way back down and get stopped at break even. We shouldn't really. If we do, it's probably just because you can blame December price action. But this one should be relatively safe, apart from the M50 and FVG, obviously. We've got a couple of minutes here until the M15 candle closure. 57 seconds actually. So obviously we want this candle here to close above this zone. If it closes inside, we might get stopped at break even. If we close above, we should be fine. Get stopped at break even on this one. There'll be 3 break even trades today. If we close above this little gap here as well, but give me some nice confidence. So we've got a 30-second and a 1 minute. So excuse me. Alright, I mean, it looks like we're going to close above. We didn't close above on either time frame, but I mean, it doesn't really matter because we closed above the 15-minute anyway. So we're going to have a 5-minute long, a 15-minute long, and a you know, the small confirmation entry that we took down below. So it should hit. Like I say, super high probability. If it doesn't, I'm blaming December PA. But I mean, this should be good. I don't see why this shouldn't. Really good setup actually. You know, if you take 1 TP here, you're pretty safe, to be honest. No, I definitely got some confidence in this trade now. I didn't have much confidence in the trade when I took it, you know, because of the confirmation on the confirmation. The last one got stopped at break even, so I wasn't too, you know, confident in it. So that's why I only took it low risk. But now seeing obviously that we've got this 50-minute closure too. If this was lower in the range, say here for example, yeah, I probably would have entered this this harder, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, this is pretty good. This is a valid long as well. This is actually a valid confirmation long. The model's kind of flexible. Obviously, you'd have gone break even, so you would have got stopped at break even here. But what you don't want to do right now is trail your stop below this low, because we could very well come back and rebalance this IFEG. There is a 15-minute imbalance in the way as well, so just keep your stop at break even. You know, it's already quite low, and you should be fine. Okay, so we've come up to 11 here. We might get some manipulation lower. We might do if the hourly candle wants to give us a PO3 and with a wick down. I don't know why it would, because we do have this big wick here. We do have like relative equal highs here, so it's a good draw. No SMTs by the looks of it. Just check yes. No SMTs. Which is a small one, but it's very, very minor. And ES looks bullish too, so I don't really think it will impact price. But yeah, no, I mean, you can see here, I'm in this. There's a lot of resistance to this here. What is here? Is there anything here? There is an order block. Shinobi. I don't really use order blocks because they don't do too much, but it's there. It might be what we were reacting off. And like a break refugee sort of thing. It shouldn't matter too much though. Welcome in the TikTok chat. Welcome, welcome. Like I say, if we get stopped at break even on this, I'm blaming December PA. You know, the fact that we've just not even hit this high here with this gap above. Now we're just stalling again. Okay. So on the 50-minute, we do have a small imbalance here. We are currently rebalancing the IFEG. So there's a small gap here that isn't filled, and there's a lot of drawings in the way, so I'm sorry if it's difficult for you to see. There is a BPR there on the 15-minute. Obviously, the next 15-minute candle has to still close, so... Does anyone else get an email from like Uber like 10 times a day? So annoying. Leave me alone. I don't want your ride. I don't want your 5% off coupon. I mean, this 30-second IFG here is kind of irrelevant now. Alright, I'm just going to nip to the toilet. I'll be back in a second. It should be like 10 seconds. You guys can watch this trade for me. Oh, looks like we're going to get stopped at break even here. Annoying, dude. We missed TP by like, how many points is that? 3-4 points. Yeah, I've been stopped at break even here. My entry wasn't great. Because of the PA, I didn't want to move my break even all the way down to the entry. You're supposed to, but I didn't. Probably going to get schooled by my own error here, but oh well. I don't mind getting stopped at break even, you know. Break even day is definitely a win in my book. So this is just terrible. Like, what are we even reacting off here? We really should have delivered higher. Like I say, if this wasn't December, we definitely would have. We had multiple inversions on different time frames, reacting off a H4 FEG. We had 5 minute, 15, 3, 2, 1, 30. We had 2 different confirmation longs here, one here and one here. We really should have hit. You know, we really should be hitting TPs here. This was a very high probability trade. Well, it is what it is. I don't think there's anything else more for me here. I think I'm going to end stream, take the break-even day, and yeah, go on my life. So I'll be back on tomorrow. Drop a follow in the TikTok chat if you're still watching. And yeah, appreciate you guys tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow with another stream. Hopefully we can get some better price action. So catch you guys later.